Dear students, on behalf of the EU delegation in Russia, I am pleased to welcome you to the Winter School 2014 called EU Law in Northern Caucasus. It takes place in the well-known city of Pyatigorsk and it will last for almost 2 weeks starting today. The Winter School takes place a week after we had the 32nd EU-Russia Summit in Brussels on the 28th of January. I think there's no better way to portray the EU-Russia relations than to recall the words of President Barroso, President Van Rompuy and President Putin when they, in their conclusion of the summit, said that they had a frank, open and productive encounter. We share a continent together, EU and Russia. Our relations are complex and they are multifaceted. They affect many sectors of our economy, they involve many institutions, organizations, and they contribute to a constant exchange of people-to-people contacts, including among students and academic staff. Our relations and our common interests are very important. We are strategic partners. We have an impressive volume of trade exceeding 340 billion euros, equal to almost 1 billion euro exchange per day. This has been growing since 2002. After a crisis level, we had a quick recovery and now we are beyond pre-crisis level. Being neighbors of this size and with this kind of trade, of course, creates some questions, even irritants, and we have to discuss this, just as we did in the summit last week. Some of the irritants have emerged after Russia joined the WTO, the World Trade Organization. We in the EU supported actively Russia joining the WTO. Some of the trade irritants we are looking at now, for example, the recycling fee on used cars, for example, the Siberian overflight charges, they need to find a solution, as with the other irritants as well. With regard to the human rights, the fundamental freedoms, the rule of law, they are of course also critically important to our relations and we discuss them openly in our meetings. Dear students, when I look at the program for the Winter School, an important component is occupied by the subject conflict resolution and management. The very creation of the EU is based on an effort to overcome conflict and division and promote peace. This fact was recently recognized when EU received the Nobel Peace Prize. These, our own internal experiences, make our EU well placed to promote conflict resolution and peace building also beyond our borders. Today, it's hard to find a region around the world where EU is not engaged in one form or another in peace mediation, if we understand it as political facilitation, dialogue and initiatives in the whole conflict cycle, ranging from conflict prevention to peace building. The Lisbon Treaty places conflict prevention and crisis management and peace building at the very heart of the work of the EU and its External Action Service. The 2009 Council concept on strengthening the EU mediation and dialogue capabilities set out an ambitious goal: to use mediation as a tool of first response to emerging or ongoing crises. The EU's added value in global mediation lies in applying a comprehensive approach to conflict prevention and resolution. Mediation is a key component to the other EU interventions that are covered under our common security and defence policy missions. In the last 10 years, there's been an increased recognition that the practice of peace mediation is a cost-effective instrument. The mediation field has recently witnessed the emergence of new actors such as regional, sub-regional and even private diplomacy actors. They can have a certain comparative advantage and skills, for example, access or proximity to parties to a conflict, or their capacity to involve new innovative approaches. The EU itself has also developed its capacity and experience in mediation and dialogue over the last 20 years. We have been a mediator ourselves, like for instance in the Aceh conflict or the Kosovo-Serbia talks. They provide also political, financial and technical support to the dialogue and mediation effort of key partners. This is what I wanted to say regarding conflict resolution and management. To conclude, let me go back to the topic of the EU-Russia relations. In the recent summit, we also stated firmly that we want to launch the new agreement negotiations at the next EU-Russia summit, which are due in June in Sochi, of course, if conditions are in place. Recalling the words of President Barroso, the new agreement should help turn our partnership of one of need into a partnership of choice. This is very much the true spirit of our genuine partnership. Thank you for your attention. I wish you a successful winter school and all the best in your professional endeavors.